kids. I don't know if you've noticed, but they're in the building today and they're doing a lot of things. They handed out the bulletins and did the offering and singing and saying prayers. I appreciate all those young people that are willing to step up and do the things that many of us adults will say, no way. So I'm glad that they have their courage and are willing to step up and do that. This thing's going to get me every time here. So I know that because of all the things that we have in our lives, that even adults have a lot of choices, but even nowadays, children have a lot of choices. If you think about it, because we live in this advertising world and marketing world that everything is flashing in front of them, and so our children need our help to go through those choices. I mean, with all the 700 channels plus channels that there are on TVs, and many of those are advertising cereals and cartoons or advertising things, that there's choices that, the flashing lights and everything like that. There's Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and internet and all those things, and even video games, and some of those are even violent games. But here we are with even children at the very young age now, because of all the marketing that we have out there. They're given a lot of choices that they have to make. And so our society and Satan are fighting to take our children, get them in their hands. And society isn't necessarily healthy right now. Like I said, we're in a consumer society right now. And so I want to make sure that people are always consuming. Satan wants our children, and so we can just see the ravages of Satan on our children, in our society, after a couple of generations, and that effect. And so we have to stay vigilant at working with our children. Now, this message this morning isn't necessarily what we're going to do this morning isn't necessarily just for parents, but it's also for the church and Christians and grandparents. Now, I know that one of the things that we found out here recently by going to leadership seminars, that there's a great ministry out there that's for grandparenting, and it's a recent thing, which I thought was very interesting. I would have thought that ministry by grandparents would have been around for a long time, but it has not been around for a long time. As a matter of fact, because of our society just generally pushing, I don't know, maybe you have this sign on your car. I don't mean to offend somebody with this, but we emphasize being bad. I'm a bad boy with bad toys, and there's other words in there and stuff like that, but we push being bad. And so sometimes, because we get into believing some of those things, we've had grandparents that have had to turn into parents in this society this time. And so, the church needs us, our families need us. I found this to be very interesting. I gathered something off some books that I had here that was 8-year-olds were asked to write papers about what grandparents are. Some of these are funny, and some of them made me really think about this. I'm going to read a couple of these. It says, grandparents are a lady and man who have no children of their own, but they love to play with other people's children. Okay? This is fun. Grandparents don't have anything else to do, okay, except for be there when we come to see them. And they are so old that we shouldn't run and play hard. And it's good if they drive us to the store and give us money. When they take us for walks, they slow down past things like pretty leaves and caterpillars, and they show us and talk to us about the colors of flowers and also why we shouldn't step on cracks. Grandparents don't say, hurry up. That's all one person wrote, one kid wrote. They have to answer questions like, why isn't God married? And how come dogs chase cats? When they read to us, they don't skip. They don't mind it if we ask for the same story over and over again. Everybody should try, this is fun, everybody should try to have a grandmother. Now it's not going to be so funny, because it says, especially if you don't have television, because they're the only grown-ups who will spend time with me. That's what I'm saying. They know that we need to have snacks before bed. And they say the prayers with us, and they kiss us on our heads, even when we act bad. Here's my favorite one. Grandpa is the smartest man on the earth. Now it doesn't get so. It said, he teaches me good things, but I don't get to see him often enough so that I can get smart also. Okay? And guys, here we go. It's funny when Grandpa bends over because you hear gas that leaks out and he blames the dogs and mice. Love their honesty. Love it. Now, I read some of those things so that we might laugh about it, but when we talk about our children, we're also talking about grandchildren. All of us are in this together, and I know that for us, that with Laurel and I, we have spent time and made it important that our grandchildren get a godly influence, and I know that being that ours are 4 and 7 now, that we've had a conversation about some scriptures, and you try to realize what scriptures can you teach somebody at that age, and probably Awana knows this better than I do, but we've taught the greatest commandment and the golden rule because we think that includes everything that there is out there. And I know that when we've had conversations about life with our 7-year-old, about school and some things that are going on there, and bullying and stuff like that, that it gets to be real. And when you start talking about loving God with all your heart, mind, soul, and spirit, and loving your neighbor as yourself, and do to others as you would have them do to you, almost everything fits in there. And I love it that our 7-year-old grandson will be able to quote those to us and then talk to us about it. It's very important. See, our grandchildren need us, and what I think is really important is we need them. They need the Jesus that's in us. And so I believe that even the woes of our society can be healed by building and growing better people. I think that people are where it is in our society. We try to throw money at so many things, but I think it's building and growing better people. And it all starts with our children. If you see in your bulletin here, there's a bunch of scriptures here. I'd like to just read a couple of these so that you can hear some of the words that God said. Starting in Psalms, it says, "For he issued his laws to Jacob, and he gave his instructions to Israel, and he commanded our ancestors to teach them to their children." So teach them to their children, so that the next generation might know them, even the children not yet born, and they in turn will teach it to their own children. So here we are in a continual, perpetual teaching of the Scripture. Proverbs, "Direct your children unto the path, into the right path, and when they are older they won't leave it." 1 Corinthians, "When I was a child I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child, but when I grew up I put away childish ways." I know that some days I have to deal with that myself, for me. Matthew, "And anyone who welcomes a little child like this on my behalf welcomes me." So Jesus is into little children. Mark, "And he took the children in his arms and placed his hands on their heads and blessed them." Jesus blessed the children. "You have been taught the Holy Scripture from childhood, and they have given you wisdom, and you receive salvation that comes from trusting in Jesus." All the things that we do is really in that scripture right there, is we want to make sure that our children find salvation in trusting in Jesus. And the last one, Timothy, "Teach these things and insist that everyone learn them. Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young. Be an example to all believers in what you say and in the way you live, and in your love, your faith, and your purity. Until I get there, focus upon," thank you, Brixton, "reading of scriptures to the church, encouraging the believers and teaching them." I hope that you allow the children to encourage you, because I don't know about you, but they encourage me. So I believe that another thing that I believe in is that we say that the children are our church of tomorrow, but I don't believe that. I think they're our church today. Okay? Because I don't know about you, but thank you, young people, for being here, because I felt the energy in the room. Can you feel it with, so we need that energy. So they are helping us with the church of today. They give us a reason to be here besides Christ, because we know that we want to pass on the message. They remind us of possibilities. I'm constantly amazed at how many times I hear of high school students or junior highs that do something and you're just going, that's amazing. Adults could have never pulled that off. And so I'm glad that they are doing what they are doing. I know that there is a church that focuses wholly upon families and their children. And that church started with 60 people, and now they're well into many thousands of people today. And they still continue to focus upon children and families. And that is their place that people grow, because we know they also focus upon men's ministry, because I know if they get men in the church that the families will come. So thank you, men, for being here today. So the church needs the youth. They need our children. We need our children. I know that as I think about my childhood, and I hope that you have good memories. I grew up in the church. I come from a long line of church people, and I can remember getting done with Sunday school, and I just liked to dress up even as I was a little kid, and I had my little shirt with my tie on and everything, and my mom kept telling me that she remembers that as soon as Sunday school was out and we were driving home, that I was already had my tie off, my shirt half off, because I was ready to go get changed to go play and everything. But I loved to go there and hear the stories, and I can remember all those flannel graphs and everything like that, which I sort of was afraid because I thought they might stick on me or something like that. But I remember all these. I have memories of going with my uncle, who was an elder in the church, and he would take me around to do work in the church. So if there's something needed to be fixed, he would take and we would do all that work. And I hope that we do that with our children. We take them around and do the work of the church and show them what needs to be done. So today we're focusing upon the youth programs. And I thought it was interesting, as I went to try to find some of these scriptures, I just put in my search the child and children, and I came up with 711 verses in the Bible that either have child or children in it. Now, I'm just guessing at this, but from looking at all the ones that I read, about 650 of them describe you and me as the children of God, or Jesus talking to a disciple saying, "Oh, child of God," or something like that. There was few that talked specifically about young children, but it really spoke to all of us being children of God. And so today's message is about all of us. It's connecting to every single one of us, because we're all of God's children. So one of the things that we are focusing upon today, obviously, is the youth programs. But the other thing that I want to say is that we're focusing upon getting involved and giving you information about what these youth programs are, but maybe that's not your gift. I want to let you know that every single one of you have a gift, and you need to find out what it is. Some of you have more than one, but God gave every single one of you a gift. Don't know what it is, you need to find it out. If you don't know what it is, talk to somebody and we'll help you to work that through. But today what we're talking about is giving you information about youth, that if you think that youth are important, that we want to tell you about the opportunity so that you can raise your hand and come and help out, because we think that it's very important, because obviously the children are now, and then there are our leaders of the next generation. So what I'm going to do is ask 4 groups to come up here. I'm going to call them up at one at a time, and we're just going to have a little bit of a conversation so that you can know what's going on with the ministries. So I'm going to take this down here. The first person I'm going to call up, or the first group, is our Sunday morning kids church with Deb Justice and Cheryl Allen. And are you? Yeah, okay. I don't know, is Kayla here from nursery? I guess somebody will. Okay. So, first off, let me just say that, Deb is on staff here. I want to give her a little bit of kudos, is that I love serving with her, because she has a great heart for God, and I can tell you, working in the kids' church over there and with the Club 56ers and the other people, I can tell you that I've seen lots of tears of joy and lots of other tears too, and lots of smile. And so I appreciate it. I think that you're a blessing for us here. So what I'm going to do is ask just generally these groups some 3 questions so that you can find out what they're all about. So tell us about your ministry with the kids' church over there.
Good morning, family. Good morning. All right, Ruby and I stand here, Cheryl and I stand here together representing Kids Church. Oh, sorry. Which is a phenomenal program, which I fell in love with, had the privilege of being very nudged in, thank you, Bev, into this ministry. We do a lot of great things down there, don't we, Ruby? Yeah, we do. We are currently working in the Gospel Project, which is a phenomenal Lifeway program that the kids are learning from. Right? And we're just leading the kids. We're there to lead the kids into Christ. Know that they serve a big God, a God that loves them, a God of miracles, as we know right here from Ruby, that she stands right here, that we have a God that answers prayers. We have a God that loves our children. And yeah.
So do you, if a child needs a Bible, do you have one to give to them?
Yes, we do. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do is give things away. And we have, I'm down to, so deacons, I'm only down to like 4 left. We need to purchase some more. Yes, because I have given away probably over 75 Bibles in the last year and a half. Yeah, and so that's an amazing gift to be able to give that to a child.
And we were hoping, and this is something you shouldn't do, but we were hoping to have a video from something that they show. They get a video every week, and I'll tell you, when I go over there, I get enthused by it because I go, all adults should see this too. So we wanted to have one, but we just couldn't get it up there. Hold on.
Slide it to your right.
So I work in the nursery, and
How do you get it to the video?
I want to start by saying my older daughter is 10 this month, and we started coming to church here when she was this age, almost exactly his age. This is Ian, he's 15 months old. We started coming here when she was this age because we were looking for a church that had a lot of things for children and families. And that is why we changed churches from where we were going. It was, they didn't have a lot of children, there wasn't programs there, and I didn't want to run a program just for my kid, you know. And so we came here because of that. And one of the first places that I really got connected was in the nursery. Bev was working in the nursery, Jeanette was working in the nursery, and Mary was working in the nursery. So these are our grandparents of the church. And so when we say our church family, it's more than just the people we go to church with. They really have become other grandparents and mentors to my daughter, who's now going to be 10 and will be going into youth, and we'll need those people to hug on and love on. And the nursery ministry is so important because it wouldn't have allowed me at that time in my life as a new mom, going to school, getting my teaching credential, to sit and enjoy and be fed. And so the people who worked in nursery when my child was little are now here resting, doing other ministries, and now it's my turn. And so the other thing that's hard is it always ends up being the moms that are working in nursery. And so we really encourage grandparents, aunts, and uncles. If you can sit in a rocking chair and hold a baby, or read a book, or push the button on a toy, you're good. We welcome you. And if you can do, the more people we have, you know, many hands make light work. And so the more people we have in there, the less times a month we have to be in there, because over the summer I think I've attended church 2 or 3 times. I've lost a couple volunteers, some have moved, some have gone to other ministries. So if you're an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, you just love babies, you want to come sit and hold Ian so that I can play with the other babies while we're in there. It allows, okay, come on down. Come find me and I will give you a form to fill out and we will get you in there. If you can come once a month, give an hour and a half once a month. Crystal. Oh, now she knows.
I know. I wasn't going to say anything, but I have 5 kids. They've all been coming here since they were babies. And like Cheryl's saying, it's huge. Like sometimes Sunday morning is literally the only hour and a half that as moms we get without our kids. So it's a huge blessing. I mean, literally, like that whole week, it was like Sunday mornings I can put my kids over there and I can sit for an hour and a half quietly and just listen. So I still work there because I want to pass that on to new moms and young moms that have little babies, because I know what a huge blessing that is.
Crystal's one of my most faithful workers, and Candy Pate, I don't have Candy, so is Candy here? She's in the nursery, so that I can be here. So, you know, I have them once a month, and they are limited to once a month. If they want to work more, they're more than welcome to, but, you know, it's very important. It's important for the people who have children, and, you know, when I feel comfortable, when somebody new comes, they're able to leave their child and go enjoy the service. We're ministering to the whole family. And so just encourage you, think about it. You know, listen this morning and find out where can you serve an hour and a half once a month, even in children's church, to come sit and hang out and be another person they can sit on your lap and hug on.
So I just wanted to ask them the second question and third question about what are your needs for workers right now, and how can we be praying for you?
We have lots of needs in kids ministry. We need snacks. They love to eat. What we initiated last year were prayer walls in each of the classrooms. So if you just want to cruise through the next side of the building and come over and pray over their prayers, they write them down, they hang them up, and that they know when God has answered their prayer, we move it to the big wall in the hallway. So that way they see that God is working in their lives. But come over and pray over their prayers. They're beautiful, they're on the walls in each and every classroom. And volunteers, we do need volunteers. I need volunteers for the 3rd and 4th Sunday of every month. And who doesn't want to come out and hang out with Ruby and teach Ruby about Jesus, or Sydney, or Cameron, or my boys back there, or any of them? Just, yeah, it's a gift to serve. And that's our need.
Well, our needs right now really are with volunteers, like I said. And we've got, it's fresh and new over there. If you haven't been over there, the preschool and the nursery have recently been painted. And so we're working on getting some, you know, kind of updating in there and making it fun. But really our needs are your time, you know, and that's our biggest need right now is our time and volunteering, our service.
Okay, thank you very much. That's our Sunday morning. Right now, I want to leap to our older ones and ask Gilbert to come up here. We're going to talk about our junior high and high school. I know that Zach's away with, what's he doing right now? Oh, he's a chick. He's not doing anything right now, just herding a bunch of, anyway. So tell me, what is the JHO and the RPM, if that's still what it's going to be called? What is that all about?
Good morning, family. Good morning. So, JHO, junior high only. It's for our 7th and 8th graders. And then we have RPM, which is Real People's Ministry, which is our high schoolers, 9th through 12th grade. Basically, what we're doing there is we're looking at, you know, we're fellowshipping, we're teaching about God. We have lessons, we have games, we have food, and you know, that's basically where we're at right now. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me give you some times and dates. JHO, August 1st. We're on a break right now, but JHO will start August 1st, and they're from 6 to 7:30. And RPM will start August 2nd, and they're from 7 to 8:30. Yes, sir.
That's Wednesday and Thursday night. So what are your needs for volunteers and any prayer requests that you have?
We always need volunteers. Always need volunteers, especially for JHO. The kids are going through a transition at that point from elementary school into the higher grades, different systems. And it's just a rougher time around, you know, that 11, 12, 13-year-old age. So we always need volunteers for JHO. We need volunteers for high schoolers who are, of course, now they're looking to go on into young adulthood. So we need those volunteers and our resources. You know, when we talk about resources, we need your love, we need your prayers, but we'd also like it if you were able to say, we had a camping trip and you were able to donate your camper for that weekend, or that week. Maybe you have a boat and we have a plan to go out to the lake and have a barbecue, or possibly a house with a pool, and you're able to have a pool party. You know, just basically these kind of resources that we can all come together, maybe you have motorcycles or bikes. No, skip the motorcycles. Anyway. That was just my idea. Anyway, yeah, no ATVs, no motorcycles, thanks, we're good. Please, your pools, if they have a diving board, maybe not, I'm not too sure. Anyway, but you know, these things are what we're looking for, and we're always looking for people. You want to come visit, come talk to us. We have a sign up in the lobby there. Please go, volunteer, right in, volunteer. I have cars, I have boats, I have, you know, whatever you want, whatever resource you want to donate to the program.
Also, can you, right there. So I know that oftentimes one of the volunteers, what they do up there is not necessarily write the plan or teach in the big session or anything, but really sit in small groups and talk with the kids about the scripture and what it means and how the week's going. So a lot of it's just really conversation. If you do have the gifts of playing music or speaking in front of groups, they'll probably use that too, but it's really just conversation with kids. Thank you. Yeah. How many here are working currently right now with JHO and the RPM program and going up there? Okay. Bill. Come up here, Bill. I got a question for you. Works with junior high, right?
Yeah.
Works with junior high. Are you like me? I can't even remember junior high. Anyway, so why do you work with the kids? Why do you work with the junior hires?
These kids, young adults I'll call them, are at a transitional period in their life. And when I became a Christian, I assumed an obligation to help my fellow human beings. Now, I handle I work with boys. We have women leaders like Cheryl who work with the girls. Some of the conversations, the dialogues that we have promotes not only the individual, but it promotes them to talk about problems that they're having. Suicide these days seems to be a very, very major issue throughout our community. Permanent solution to a temporary situation. You know, again, we not only each and every adult in here, whether or not you have children or not, you have an obligation to these people. They are our church. They are our community. They are going to be our world leaders. You know, you can turn your back on them, and when the time comes, they're going to be turning their back on you, because monkey see, monkey do.
Thank you. Thank you. So, is Quinn here? No? Okay. No, this is about the Urbana program. So I don't see Quinn that's here. I'm thinking that you need to come up here, Paul. Listen, she made every arrangement to make sure that she didn't have to come up here. I'm sorry, but I think this might be a God appointment, so I'm sorry. So just, I know that you meet on Wednesday nights, right? So when is the first meeting beginning, and maybe tell a little bit about the program, and then if you have needs for volunteers. I know you just had a whole bunch of people sign up, but and then what kind of prayers can we do for you?
All right, we start August 1st, and we meet every Wednesday, 5:30 to 7:30. And we teach the kids about God. We teach them lots of verses, and they have fun. They play lots of games. They have snack like everybody else. And so it's not only an opportunity to reach the kids, but because we get kids from the community, we have the opportunity to reach these kids and reach their parents through them. We need lots of listeners, lots of people to help. We always need more people, and we always need lots of donations, like snacks. And so God just guides us in all that we do, and we let God reach his kids through us. And that's what we're there for. You can be praying for us because you need to be praying for the kids, but also for the families that we're reaching. We just need lots of prayers, and if you can't help, if your gift isn't working with kids, everybody can pray. Everybody on Wednesday night, we're there. Please pray for us. And things don't always go like we plan, like we're not being here this morning. But things go like God has planned.
Thank you, Paula. Let's give her a hand. Okay. So, Paula, just real quickly, how many kids do you serve on Wednesday night? Is it
Anywhere from 50 to 75 kids.
50 to 75 kids? Okay, that's great. All right, so the next group I'm going to call up, I'm familiar with, but we don't do snacks because I couldn't handle it with my waistline anymore with all the snacks that we have out there, so we don't have the snacks. So I'm going to ask Dave Justice to come up here for the Trail Life, and then Melissa, are you going to come up for American Heritage Girls? So come on up here. You see that there's a bunch of kids that are here in some uniforms. Those are our Trail Life. Yeah, you can see them back there. Ryan, thank you very much, and all the others that are around. If you want to come up and just represent, but I'm going to ask the same questions of this group too, about tell us when and where you meet, what you do, and then, you know, what's the need for volunteers and the prayer.
Hi, my name's Melissa. This is Amber and Sherry down there. We represent 3 of the 4 board members for American Heritage Girls, which is pretty much Christian scouting for young ladies. We serve kindergarten through 12th grade, and we do everything from cooking and sewing badges to hiking, river rafting, horsemanship, camping. Like, we do it all. It's a lot of fun. It's all Christ-centered fellowship as they're learning to do all kinds of different things in life. Okay, so we meet on Mondays in the evenings over at the cafe from 6 to 7:30. We start up in August. And we currently have a full board, but what we need is unit leaders. And what that is we meet together as a full group, but then after we've done our prayer and devotions and announcements, we separate into different groups based on age and grade. And so we can work on our different badges at different levels. And we need unit leaders to lead those groups. Each individual group has different requirements to meet those badges. And a lot of times it's just as board members doing the whole thing. And most of us, also work, most of us homeschool, we have a lot of stuff going on, and so it's a lot on our plates. So we would be very blessed to have some new unit leaders step up that would be willing to take on, the Pathfinders in kindergarten, or, the Explorers or Pioneers or what have you, and just be committed to come every week and lead those kids. We have books to follow, so you don't have to come up with stuff on your own, you just have to be willing to prepare. But we have a lot of trips and stuff. You can be praying for us in 2 weeks. We're taking the troop to Monterey for a 2-night camp out. And we've done a lot of different stuff. They have a lot of fun. We do community projects. We do Operation Christmas Child. Last year we packed 55 boxes. We do Wreaths Across America, which is where we go and we hang Christmas wreaths on veterans' headstones to honor our veterans. We do a lot of U.S. history projects so that the kids are learning about our heritage as a country. There's a lot of stuff going on in our group, and we could use prayers all the time for God's will to be done, but we really need some unit leaders that are going to be committed to coming on a weekly basis.
In addition to what she's saying about unit leaders, if you have a special talent, we do sewing, we do cooking, we do, you name it, we do it. We're not gifted in all these areas. Some of us have strengths, a lot of us go camping, a lot of us sew, but there are other things out there that we are not gifted in. Even if you don't feel you're ready to be a unit leader, we could use help. Just come to us and say, hey, I am really good at cooking, or I am really good at cross stitch. It doesn't matter. If you have something that you're really good at and you really love, we could use the help just teaching the girls additional skills that, we're not gifted to be able to teach them. Literally, when we say we cover everything, we cover everything. The books go from your basic household stuff, I mean, all the way to advanced camping and outdoor stuff. There are a lot of us that are not really outdoors. So if that's something that you have a gift for, we could really use the help with that as well.
So basically, we do everything they do. But we're also, our main goal is to mentor young men to grow up to be respectful, Jesus-loving adults that will respect their wives, their families, and be part of a leader in their community with the faith of Jesus Christ. Is what we need for help is we need some more volunteers. We would love some more boys. So if you want to come try it out, our first night is July 30th. I believe we're having like a parent kids get together evening. It'll be just an informational, kind of hang out. We'll have refreshments. I believe it's 5:30 over here, next door. And it's a great program. I was a scout when I was younger, and this is more of a scouting with like Boy Scouts, but it's all faith-based. It's a great program. Me and my son are involved in it, and we have go on a lot of neat trips and do a lot of good things.
And so how many girls do you have in probably about a dozen and about the same over? Yeah, so there's about 12 and about 12 over here, and I would like to volunteer to come on the cooking night for you guys and either be a taste tester. That's a talent that I have. So anyway, yeah, and if your talent is knives or something for the boys, because we do teach them how to handle knives respectfully. I better look in your eyes and see what you're really saying, what you really want to do with that. So, but anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay. So one of the things that I just want to bring up here in closing, as you can see, there's a lot of things that are going on for youth, all the way from Sunday, Monday night, Wednesday, Thursday. Lots of things going on. I know that. One of the things for Trail Life is that they have 2 meetings a month, and then there's a committee meeting, but one week a month is usually an outing. And so I know Dave didn't get into a lot of those things, but we've done these together, some of them archery, and gone, just on many other trips to the ship. What was the name of the Hornet? Went to that and things like that. So there's just a lot of outings that are going that way. So one of the things that I just want to say in closing here is that I hope that you can see a lot of things that are going on here. I don't know if we can really do too much because we really want to get as many of the kids connected. If you have a heart for helping kids to get connected, for helping to make a memory, I would ask you to consider helping to bring these kids that we have up in the way that they should go. I know somebody mentioned this, we have 4 stations out there. If you want to see any of the ministries and talk to them, they're going to be out in the lobby there, so you can sign up if you want to or consider it. Maybe you probably have to pray about it, but if it's not with the children, maybe it's with men's, maybe it's with women's, maybe it's with whoever. There's lots of groups. I don't want to get into naming them all because I'll obviously forget some of them. So I just want you to know that we focus on youth today, but know that it's really about service and finding your ministry. So please, let God talk to you. So let me say a prayer in closing here. Lord, thank you for all the workers that we have here. Thank you for all those that have stepped up and that are parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles that are helping out. Maybe we've seen today that you've inspired us that it doesn't have to be a ministry, but maybe in our own families we need to step up and do some things with our children and our grandchildren and all the family around us. But we also know that you have created this body to be a body and a family together. So let us all work together on bringing up the kids. I love their energy. I love their outlook on life. I know that I personally need that energy and that enthusiasm. And I know that others need it too. So thank you for bringing us families. Thank you for bringing us the kids. And let us find a place to apply our gift, if it's not in children's ministry, with other places. So I pray these things through your Son, Jesus. Amen.